In 1982, skaters were talking about a trick that couldn't really be done. The trick that they envisioned was something like the skate would have to do like a 360 vertically like this. But this trick can't really be done because the weight of the trucks made the board spin like this. So it was very impossible, and that's why it got this name. People were just calling it the impossible. It turns out that Rodney Mullen did it anyway. And this became a trick that a lot of people know nowadays. And here's the thing. Decades later, physicists put that trick on a camera, 1,000 frames per second. And what they found genuinely changed how I think about my career as a software engineer. I know, it's a weird connection, but I bet it's gonna change yours too. Before I explain that to you, let me show you how I stumbled upon this. Mullen didn't do that trick by accident. He was just asking a different question than anybody else around him. And I think I'm trying to do the same about software today. There's a quiet crisis going around the software industry right now. And it's not really about AI taking our jobs. It's more about identity. For years, a lot of us tied our identity to writing code, just writing code by hand. But now that machines can generate code 1,000 times faster than us, it feels like the ground is disappearing. But if we think about it, our job never was really about writing code itself. Tying our identity to just that portion of the job itself is hurting every developer out there. And I know this sounds like a motivational poster, but let me show you how I found that the hard way and how I went down this rabbit hole about skateboarding and the physics of all things. We're all amazed by how fast these models can digest information and come up with solutions. And we just get tricked a lot of the time by the sycophantic nature of AI. It's genuinely hard to argue with something that confidently agrees with you or just like slightly puts you in a different way with a very reasonable answer. Sometimes we accept the answer out of exhaustion. Sometimes we accept the answer because we don't have the full knowledge on the thing we're talking about. And that's fine, like we can't know everything. And everything around us says we have to go 100 times faster. So accepting a good-looking approach seems reasonable. And here's where that took me. I was heavily building a lot of workflows and automations around AI. At some point, someone asked me a question about something I built, and I couldn't answer it. That's when I realized I didn't have the full mental model. I was just automating everything and letting AI do the thinking for myself. And I noticed how bad that scales, because if I don't have the answer, how can someone on my team have the answer? How someone reviewing this can confidently say it's the right approach or actually understand the system, understand the problem we're solving. There's no authenticity on anything. Everything is missing what actually made us get here in the first place. Think about this, like all the solutions and things that we came up with over the years, the nice products that exist, the great algorithms that people invented, all of that, they were created because someone was creative enough to think outside the box, to create something new. The more we rely on AI to do the thinking for us, the more we are just creating the same type of solutions everywhere. And I feel like we're just optimizing for speed and delivering things super fast, which makes us rely heavily on AI, not only for generating code, not only for generating output for things, but really to do the thinking on how to actually build something, to do the thinking to evaluate whether a product or an idea has a market fit. The nature of AI and LLMs is just statistics, how probable something can happen, you know. It looks for the mediocre answer. It looks for things that have already worked in the past because that's what they have in their training data. If we look for always the same type of answer, the same thing, then where's the creativity in that? This also explains why I'm out here, why I'm not in front of my computer right now. I'm trying to take that creativity back. I'm trying to do some sports back again and, just enjoy nature and enjoy creativity, let my mind wander and discover things in hopes of solving this problem. There was this study about Git Clear, and they analyzed 211 million lines of code from very large companies, from like Microsoft, from Google. And they found out that, you know, that type of code that is like disposable, the type of code that like we write for POCs and things like that, and we just like throw away in a week. And they figure out that that type of code has more than doubled recently since AI. And I noticed that also, like even in my own job, like from other friends in the industry, they also say the same thing. And this seems like bad news, but I promise you, this is actually the best news for our career. And it's the same thing that physicists found about that trick I was talking about in the beginning, the impossible. Let me explain you why. In 2018, like decades later after this trick was invented, there was this girl, she made a YouTube video. She's called the Physics Girl. So she recorded Rodney Mullen doing the impossible trick in slow motion, and she was analyzing how that thing went. And she figured out that the board alone couldn't do this trick unless there was some creative way to do that. By analyzing how Rodney Mullen was doing this trick, she noticed that the trick to do this was that Rodney Mullen would pop the board, and then he would control, like with his back foot, doing like this movement around. He would control all the 360 around and make the board land like this back. So even though the board itself couldn't do this movement alone, Rodney Mullen, with his creative thinking, thought that actually making his foot cross all around like this could do that. That's what he did. That's how he invented the trick. And he invented a lot of variations of this trick. I feel like that's what we're missing in our career. That's what we have to focus on right now. Just having the technology alone and just letting the technology do the things automatically won't achieve the great results that we've been achieving over the years. Our creativity is what makes things better and what makes us create valuable things. That's the machine we are working with right now. And an LLM without the guidance, much like the skateboard without the foot on the back, would just fall back to the statistical response. It would just fall back to the most probable answer. Mullen didn't do the impossible barefoot on a pavement. The board was the whole point. Actually, the combination of the board and the human in their shared creativity was the thing that made it the impossible possible. Mullen himself figured out this connection between software development and skateboarding a long time ago. In his TED Talk like 14 years ago, he compared skaters with hackers and open source developers. And he described their shared creative process as taking what others build, make it better, making their own, and share it back with the community. He called that the heart of engineering. And I think that's what we should be doing in the industry today. And I think that's what we should be doing as developers now. We take what the machine gives us, we make it better, we make it ours, and then we share it back. We share something that wouldn't be possible without a human in the loop. Everything today asks us to do the regular thing. Just rely on AI because everybody's doing so. But embracing creativity and authenticity is the thing that actually brought us here in the first place. It's what made us figure out solutions that seemed impossible, build something that nobody ever imagined, and sometimes even move the whole industry's direction. And honestly, that's what actually made the profession fulfilling. Skaters named the trick impossible. Physicists came after and proved it that it was impossible. Skateboarders did it anyway. And that's the whole point. Having our judgment, having our taste is what actually makes the impossible possible. So keep your foot on the board. That's your job now. It kind of always was.